How's everybody doing out there? Well, welcome to day 5 of Corona Online School. Hopefully, everybody had a nice Labor Day break and was able to go out and have some fun and stay safe at the same time. So, today we're continuing on our 9.2 discussion. So, we still have one more day of 9.2, and then we'll be finally finished with that and moving on to 9.3. So this section would have a lot of stuff that's kind of we would be doing in class, plus we'd be doing our construction demonstration. So this is kind of a short day for you guys. So make sure get your constructions uploaded if you haven't done so already. If you have questions about it, let me know. But what we would do normally in class is like I'd have a bunch of pictures cut out for you, and I'll scroll down so you can actually see them. So I'd have all these different pictures, and I would have you as a group try to categorize them into different quadrilaterals. So everything that we're talking about today is quadrilaterals, which are four-sided figures. And we're going to try to figure out properties of quadrilaterals. And so in this case, our categories that we're using are kites, trapezoids, parallelograms, rhombuses, rectangles, and squares. So again, we spend like 5 or 10 minutes or something like that having you guys try to sort them on your own. So since we're not here, I'll just kind of go ahead and spoil it for you and let you know what each of these are. You probably know anyway. But the top two would be considered kites in this case. So one's just concave and one's convex in this case, but technically they're both kites. The next two would be our trapezoids. So the one on the left is what's called a general trapezoid. The one on the right is what's called an isosceles trapezoid. And I have formal definitions for all these that you can look at, but I'd rather you did those at the very end and kind of did this other activity first, otherwise it'll kind of give everything away. The next two are parallelograms. And then the next two are rhombuses. And then, of course, rectangles. And then finally, squares. So that's every kind. So again, in class, I would have had them where they were all cut out, and then you guys would have probably put them up on the board or something like that and tried to decide what was what. So what I would like you to do, especially if you can print these out, is the goal is we want to try to fill in this table that talks about all the different kinds of things, and it talks about at least one set of opposite parallel sides, congruent sides, and things like that. So what I was hoping you could do is use your ruler and protractor and actually go through, draw the diagonals in each quadrilateral. So just to kind of remind you what the diagonals would look like. So like the kite, for example, like you're just going from one vertex to a vertex that doesn't connect. So like in this case, that's what the two diagonals would look like. Now the one beside it's kind of a weird one because you still do the same thing, but the odd thing is like in this case, the diagonals, like they don't even intersect and stuff like that, which is odd. Unless you were to actually take this one and go further up, then they'd intersect. But otherwise, it's kind of outside. So the rest of them, you probably can draw the diagonals fine. So like this one would look like that. This one would look like that. And so the goal is what I want you to do is go through, measure all these things. If you've got a compass, if you've got a straight edge or a ruler and a protractor, measure the angles, lengths of the sides, lengths of the diagonals, and then use that to fill out the properties of the table below. And so again, if it's got that property, you'll put an X in there, and if it doesn't have that property, you'll just leave it blank. And then hopefully we'll kind of see a pattern for these guys as they emerge. And then if you get stuck, there is a whole definitions page that I do want you to go to at the very end, and of course you'll fill them out there. There'll be little example drawings of each one and stuff like that. And it'll also kind of help you fill out that chart. And then when you're done, then you should be able to fill in this little Venn diagram that kind of describes the relationship between all these different quadrilaterals and stuff like that. So I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. I'll be around the computer all day to answer any questions or anything like that. So if you're having trouble figuring out, which X do I check off and stuff, just let me know. But otherwise, I'm going to see how you guys can do on that on your own. I'll be around to ask questions. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.